Hey there, comic friends. I'm Travis, and it's the Comic Book Roundtable. Whee! And it is a table of one again this week. Stuff came up, so it is just me. We'll see how long this trend continues of it being just me, or how long I survive doing it. But I am here Saturday evening. I am tired, so we'll see how well my brain stays engaged all by myself. Work has been nuts. Anyway, here I am wearing my Ming Doyle work fight, resist, persist t-shirt that I absolutely love. Kind of goes part of the survival being in America right now. Unless you're a racist or a fascist or something like that, then I guess it's probably a pretty sweet deal. Anyway, let's jump into comics and less about politics, right? Less about life in general. I have no Marvel books. I have no Marvel conversation to really have. Other than I started watching Luke Cage season 2 last night. I watched, I want to say 2 or 3 episodes. I'm liking it. I like the Luke Cage thing. I love the music, love the vibe of the show and whatnot. Some people haven't been as excited about it. I don't know what your expectation is or what you're wanting out of the show. I'm not looking for award-winning television. I'm just looking to be entertained, and for me, it's entertaining. Me and my family enjoy watching it. Anyway, on DC Books, issue 49 of Batman. So the issue before the big wedding issue. This is the second half of the Best Man when Catwoman shows up to save Batman from the Joker. Right? I really enjoyed this issue. It is basically Joker kind of going, oh, you remember when we used to have those good old times and we all hung out, all of us bad guys together, figuring out how we're going to beat Batman, and we'd have good laughs, and we'd all laugh about everything. And Selena, you never laughed. Catwoman, you never laughed. What's up with that? At any rate, she ends up slitting his throat, and he gut shots her. And they're both basically laying there for like an extreme amount of time. You get a page or two of them having a conversation about something, about the past or about the future, about Batman, about who loves Batman more and stuff like that, and who Batman needs. And then you would say later, and they'd be rolled around a little bit more, and they'd still be having this conversation and whatnot. Yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed it. I like this Joker quite a bit, and I'm kind of tired of the Joker, but I do like this Joker. So I'm interested to see the wedding, what that entails, and then what comes after. I'm really curious what the future Batman stories, because since the proposal kind of stuff going on with Catwoman, it's felt, other than the Booster Gold thing, it's felt largely focused that this was the goal. The end result was this wedding issue. So what happens after that? I mean, I know that after the wedding issue, we're going to get a Mr. Freeze story arc in some sense, with Lee Weeks doing the art on it. So it's going to be amazing looking. I just don't know focused wise where that's going to go. So be curious, but I'm enjoying Batman quite a bit. More Batman type stuff. Batwoman. This is issue 16. Dark Knight's Revenge. Not really, but she does kind of get into it with Batman. There's this whole kind of, oh no, she's gonna have to fight Batman, and she knows she can't beat Batman fighting a clean fight, so she fights dirty. Batman really feels like Kate's sister should be thrown in Arkham, and of course Kate doesn't want Beth, in this case her alternate identity Alice, to go to Arkham. That she wants to get her help someplace else, and I feel like Batman in this issue is out of character. Batman wants justice. Batman wants justice served and whatnot. But I don't think that Batman is beyond recognizing that if somebody can get some other level of help, that they should get help, as opposed to just being locked up. And there's a good argument to be said that Arkham does not help anybody that gets institutionalized there. It's basically a prison for crazy people, but it is a prison. It's not any place that rehabilitates anybody ever. And for many years now, Kate's sister has been rehabilitated until some other villains get a hold of her and kind of juice her up and get her twisted again. And Batman really thinks that she should be going to Arkham, and they get into a fight over that in a sense. And it ends with Batman saying strike two. And Batwoman's strike two. What do you mean strike two? And he said Clayface was strike one. This is strike two. And she's like, well, what happens when strike three hits? And basically then she's no longer allowed to wear the bat or something along those lines. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the future of the book is. There's issues after this. I don't know exactly what that's going to be, but I like large aspects of the Batwoman book. Not mind blowing by any means, but I really enjoy it. I like the character. I like what she does. I like what Bennett does with her. I like Bennett's internal voice for her. So I enjoy all of that. But for me, this issue, the Batman himself seemed out of character. The second issue of Justice League. This is a Scott Snyder penned Justice League. Jimenez is on art. His art is amazing. I absolutely love his art. First place I discovered him was early on in DC's Super Sons. He was amazing there, so they pulled him off that book so he could do this other great work, and I think he does. I mean, I just think that his Lex Luthor is just wonderful. I'm really excited. I mean, I don't know, largely the art for the first issue, which I can't remember the artist for the first issue. It's going to switch back and forth between the two, which has not been disruptive because the art is so good. But I really like the second issue. We've got this giant head, the totality that has crashed down. It's this giant head looking like thing, and anything that goes into it comes out mutated and fighting. Killer Croc went into it and comes out basically being Godzilla that can snort blasts of heated kryptonite. That's Killer Croc when he comes out of the totality. At any rate, we got our Legion of Doom is building. Lex Luthor, Gorilla Grodd, Cheetah, Black Manta, Sinestro. Sinestro taps into the ultraviolet light, basically. This much more the invincible emotional spectrum, and corrupts John Stewart. So Lex Luthor has discovered this key, and they open up these seven locks, and it'll give them access to this incredible power. They keep referencing the Force Wall, and I don't know anything about the Force Wall because I didn't read the Dark Metal stuff. But I find I don't really need that. Basically, the Force Wall is like some intangible field of sorts, but now it's tangible in places that was holding the multiverses together. And so there's a threat to the multiverse. They think that the totality of this thing that's crashed down might be a key to saving it. So they're trying to figure that out. So they are Superman and John are going into this giant head. Supposedly their physical structures are going to allow them to survive going in there. And inside of each of them, they are carrying the Atom has helped them construct these little ships. Batman is inside Superman's body, in the bloodstream, and Aquaman is inside Martian Manhunter, and they are going into this place that could actually mutate them. They got to find what's in there. They got to get control of it. They feel like to handle the stuff and whatnot. And you find out that Lex Luthor is also hiding in Superman's body somehow. But yeah, it feels big. It feels ominous, and it doesn't feel like I'm reading Scott Snyder so much, which I really enjoy. The story is not told through Batman, and Batman's there, but it's not told through Batman. It seems really that our two narrators are either Martian Manhunter or Lex Luthor. And I'm really enjoying the story kind of being them loosely being the narrators of of what's going on. They're mostly the internal voice. If there's an internal voice having a conversation that narrates stuff, if it, you know, if there's actually a voice to attach to somebody. So I'm liking it. You know, I'm digging it. So really happy. Then it's $3.99. So it's a $4 book, comes out twice a week. That price jump and it still being a twice a month book is maybe not quite so cool. I mean, I get a deal on it through Discount Comic Book Service, but still expensive, but I'm enjoying it. So I guess I don't mind paying the twice for it. Need a drink. Now we'll go off into the odd DC books, the not proper DC books, but still DC books. Kate Carson Adams, An Interstellar Eye, issue number 4. Art continues to be amazing, this book. The story has a small amount of direction as they're trying to find a way to at least get Chloe back home. You know, 2 years have gone by of them adventuring around, basically. This one's got lots of crazy shrooms they take and weird stuff happens. They fight lots of stuff, you know, lots of beetles with big guns and stuff like that. You know, we kind of get a you know, a loose story of people who are pro-war and people who aren't and whatnot. And, you know, like I said, the written part of the story and where it's going and whatnot is only marginally interesting for me. But the art is just amazing. Michael Avon Oeming and Nick Flaherty doing the colors are just on point. I could read a lot of stuff that these guys do just based on the visuals. I really like the visuals. You know, here's Bartol tripping. I mean, even at one point, Chloe's even like, "Oh man, you know, he's tripping balls over here." He's like, "Woo!" Really, you know. But taking these mushrooms that are growing off these dead bodies gives him the ability to kind of read their past. It's like it's been recorded into the mushrooms what happened with these people and whatnot. So get some interesting stuff there. But you know, as I keep saying, it's not the book. Okay, it looks very Yellow Submarine, yeah, blue meanies and fun stuff like that. So I like I said, visually really dig it. Story wise, yeah, okay, whatever. Nothing I'm terribly excited about one way or the other as far as that goes. But 2 more issues and it's done. So I'll finish collecting out and have some fun with the art, if nothing else. Wildstorm. Interesting. We introduced some other characters that had meaning in the old Wildstorm. I don't know how big a players they end up being in this. Issue 14, we've been officially introduced to Hawkmoor, who's kind of he senses cities as being, at least in the old Wildstorm, senses cities as being living beings, and he can communicate with them, and that's like allows him all kinds of secrets and stuff like that. We get officially introduced to him in this issue. I just don't know at issue 14 of 24, so we got 10 issues, how big of a player some of these characters are going to be being introduced this late, or how much we're actually going to get anything out of them. I mean, I would still question. We're not going to really get anything more about Voodoo. We just had those kind of couple odd, you know, pages early on with her. More of these, you know, this is Fairchild. She's once again got the aliens tech inside of her. The Io and Skywatch are now in reasonable open warfare that doesn't actually expose them to the rest of the world, to us normal people, but still they are definitely in warfare. Interesting. I really enjoy the book. I love waiting to see what happens. You know, who moves the chess pieces here or there. There's always some great fight scenes in this. A lot of really efficient killers and stuff. So we'll see where it goes. I'm really curious to see where it goes in 10 issues. I mean, 10 issues is a lot of issues, but it also feels like with as many moving parts as there are in this, that's not very many issues. Or we're just not going to get a detail on any one thing. We're just going to get, you know, some stuff, but not everything. I don't know if that's needed. It makes you wonder. I'm enjoying the book, but there's something about it that makes me wonder about it too, instead of just being immersed and reading it. So, and the last of the DC-ish books, which really not. It's a Vertigo book. Typically, I talk about Vertigo books as independent books, but I'll talk about it here. Deathbed. This is issue number what? 5. Next issue is the final issue of it. It's kind of more of the same. I mean, I like the Rosmo art, but the story itself is more just our main character realizing that he is his life is kind of basically been a lie. He's been a bit of a coward through most of it. He changes his story once things get difficult and never finishes anything. And so they decide they're going to, and they're like, possibly they've launched themselves to the moon. We'll see what that's like. I mean, what's on the cover here is more reflective of what potentially is going to happen on the moon than what would be on like Egypt or Earth or anything like that. Like I said, love the Riley Rosmo art. I just don't know if the story is that super engaging. I mean, it's interesting, but I don't know that it's terribly riveting. So one more issue of that, and then I don't think there's any Vertigo books here pretty soon. I know that like the final issue of Astro City just came out, and I think there's at least, literally when I was ordering my books, I think there's at least a month that there are no Vertigo titles at all. So gonna be interesting. I know there's stuff coming. We'll see what that ends up being like. DC news. So the only DC news I can think of is I know that they've announced that when this whole DC app comes out that you can watch their live action shows on that are going to be coming up, it is also going to be a platform that actually has comic books on it too, which to me, that's smart. I mean, I'm glad they're doing that. That's kind of what I think they should have done all along. So that way you're going to get people who don't even know comics, but they watch all like the CW TV shows, they watch the movies and stuff like that. They're into that level of entertainment. This may be an even easier way for them to accidentally stumble upon comics. And of course, the more people we can get reading comics, the better for all of us that are in the hobby of reading and collecting comic books. So I think that's cool. That's going to make the app even that much more interesting, having access to that. I don't know what's going to be in there for comics, but they have said there's going to be comics in there. They haven't talked price points or anything, or anything like that. So I don't know. So I'm looking at the comments, and Luke is asking me, Gothic Central is asking me, when will you plan on talking about Bats 50? The week it comes out or the following week? I will be talking about it the following week, because right now, consistently, I am not getting my comics until the Monday is what's happening again. So I wouldn't be able to talk about it the week that it comes out. So I will talk about it the week afterwards. So if it comes out next week, right, I believe is when Batman 50 comes out, it'll actually be the week after that is when I will talk about it on the show. I'm sure as soon as I get read, I'll be part of whatever conversation happens on Twitter or whatever, but that's where I plan on talking about on the show will be the week after it comes out. If you want to come on and talk, or wanting to hear me talk about it, whichever the case may be. Okay. So I can't think of any other DC news off the top of my head. So I'm just gonna jump into indie books. And I don't have these in any particular order. I'm just gonna talk about them as I pick them up. So Skyward, this is issue number 3. This is the final issue I am getting of it. Let's pick it up for the Gabrat art. I really do like the art in it. The story is okay. This one's more action-filled as far as the story goes. Our main character, she has met basically the other half of the team that was with her father, of scientists that helped basically screw up gravity in the first place in this world. And he has reaped lots of benefits from this. He has developed all technology that's basically kept people alive, that's kept crops growing, that's kept commerce going and all that sort of stuff. So he's making lots of money on gravity being jacked up, but there basically being no gravity, or gravity being very, very low. And of course, she has shown up because she's hoping to help her dad, because she feels like her dad is a bit crazy, cooped up in his home, not wanting to leave, and talking about fixing gravity. She thinks that's all crazy. So she goes to meet this guy, She does. He's surprised to hear that the father's still alive. They had differences of opinions. She finds out that maybe this guy maybe not very trustworthy. She's wearing gravity controlled tennis shoes, which is a thing that this guy has developed. He can actually control them. He turns them on and cements her to the ground and basically beats the crap out of her to try and get her to tell him where her father is at. She escapes. There's a chase scene, and she gets home to a wrecked house, it seems. I'm just not really engrossed by the story, so I'm not going to continue with it. I was hoping by issue 3, I would be like, wow, this is awesome, and then I'd scramble to try and pick up the issues that I did not order. But it really didn't do that. Like I said, I love the art. I love this artist. I want to see him on a successful book. This book just isn't hooking me, so I'm not going to continue on just to help fill the pockets of the artist when I'm not enjoying it. And I got a ton of stuff to read, so yeah. Anyway, Moonshine, issue number 11. Really, really like this book. Largely, it is the Eduardo Rizzo art. The art is his art style is just amazing. I love the simplicity that everything is about shadows. And I like that. And he does it in a different way than Mignola, because Mignola is relatively minimalist too, as far as shadows and that sort of thing. But his is not quite that minimalist, but definitely the shadows are important parts of the art all the time. Wonderful line work. The coloring that he does is amazing too. He usually keeps it to 2 or 3 colors, and then just different lights and darks to those colors to give us a pretty incredible and dynamic story. There's lots of stuff in here where what's being said is less important. In a lot of cases, don't get me wrong, there's some awesome dialogue in the story and whatnot, but there's some hunting like these scenes where they're out, got the dogs and are hunting this werewolf that they don't realize is a werewolf yet. But the storytelling is pretty grand. Showing the characters from front to back. Here's these guys, standing behind trees, and here's the trees casting a shadow on them. There's just lots of really, really good stuff along those lines. This issue is super exciting because, of course, they catch up with our main character who's been turned into a werewolf, and he freaking just wrecks everything, and ultimately it escapes. Curiously, the last page of this says to be concluded, so I don't know if that's to be concluded as in this Mystery Train storyline. So this next trade is concluded, or if there's no more book. I can't imagine there's just no more book after this. I'm hoping that's not the case, because I really, really enjoy it. Or if this is going to be done, cool. Then let's hurry up and get the artist on something else, because, like I said, his art is brilliant. I just really, really amazing style and whatnot. So, Shadow Man, issue number 4. I really enjoyed this issue. This issue is a different artist on it. Sharp Martinbrow is the artist on it. I don't think that's the same one. This is Dead and Gone Part 1. This is kind of, it goes in the past. He is fallen back into the realm of death, but he's literally just falling and falling and falling. And he's fallen into his great grandfather from the 1940s, when Nazi Germany is trying to take over in New York, secretly plotting the African American community against the white community by killing this senator who is currently in Harlem trying to get the African American community to vote and to help him fight in the war. And because he wants to go to war, he thinks that America should be taking it to the Nazis, not waiting until something else happens or whatever. So the art style is different in it, and I just really liked it because it's mostly about the grandfather, and our modern character is riding along inside the body of the grandfather, while the grandfather's doing his thing, and he's got some jazz moments in it, which is kind of cool. But I just also really like it because you finally get Shadow Man just being effective. He's actually being a hero. He's attempting to do something and actually executing something. Whereas the first 3 issues of this was a lot of like the last run of the book where the character spends more time fighting the whole Shadow Man aspect and not wanting to do it and running from it all. And it's just not very entertaining as him being kind of a hero and combating the stuff and whatnot. So I really enjoyed this issue. So I'm around for a while longer to continue to at least read this storyline, this Dead and Gone, if it's going to be more of him bouncing through his past versions of Shadow Man. I'm all for it because I am enjoying that. Let's see. Punk's Not Dead. This is issue number 5? Yep, number 5. This issue is almost exclusively Mrs. Culpepper. In here, we get kind of a this is how she came to be. How she is seemingly as old as what she is. So we get kind of a story telling who she is and how she is and that sort of thing. And then we get a little bit of Fergie at the very end of the issue, and it leads to a kind of the end of it going. I don't know if it says concluded. I can't remember, or end of the story, or I'm trying to remember what it is. To be continued. I guess it says to be continued. I don't know why I thought that it was the end. So I'm glad it's not. The art in it is different because Simon's here colors his own stuff, so you get this kind of painted look to his work. It has a Sekowitz look to it and whatnot. But I noticed inside here that it says the colors, pages 1 through 5 and 8 through 17, and flattening are all by D. Cunningfee. So it has a different look to it completely. It's not that painted look. It's a pretty much, it actually has a more old feel to it. Mick Jagger here, and there's a young Miss Culpepper. So it's a different look. It's more like a standard comic kind of a thing. So, but I enjoyed it because it matched, like this is the 1960s, so it has that more of a look and a feel to it. Largely talking about the older version, and then you get to the very end of the book, and then it gets back into the painted pages as we set up where we're going next, with the fact that the kid that Ferguson got in the fight with but didn't actually touch, but somehow psychically attacked him. He is dead now. So that's going to be some sinister stuff going on there, and we'll see. Like I said, where it all plays out, but I am looking forward to it. Like I said, there was some amazing art in the middle of it. In the comments, Devin's asking if you missed the Saga talk. No, because I don't have those comics. I'm a week behind, so I'm talking about last week's books. So next week, I'll be talking about Saga and whatever went on in Saga, because I don't get those comics till Monday, because Postal Service seems to want to send my comic books to the other side of the state before it comes to me. So I won't get my books until Tuesday or Wednesday. So I'm just maintaining the Comic Book Roundtable now is a week behind, always. Next up, Gideon Falls, which of course just got announced a day or two ago that it's been picked up to be somebody's working on it as a TV show. I hope that doesn't mean doom and gloom for the comic book. It just seems like here lately that if something gets announced that it's going to be a movie or a TV show or picked up in that sort of sense, that then the comic quits. It quits right away and whatnot. So that sucks. But I'm hoping that's not the case, because I'm liking Gideon Falls more and more. Every issue, I'm more invested. I'm more invested in the feel of it and what they're, what it seems like they're trying to do. I'm coming to terms with the off black that's in this issue. I find myself finding the word bubbles. Sorry, not bubbles. Word balloons. Annoying. I don't know. My camera's not going to focus on it, but it's sketchy and scratchy. I don't think I can get it to. It's not gonna. Nope. But it's sketchy and scratchy too. It's like they weren't sure where they wanted to put the word balloon at. But at any rate, and it's like drew it like multiple times, so it's kind of a sketchy kind of a look. And I just don't like the sketchy. I don't like the sketchy stuff. It's like I still don't care for the black being sketchy, but it's what it is. So I know that the artist Andre Sorrentino is famous for doing like crazy big dynamic splash pagey kind of stuff and using borders differently and whatnot. Kind of like J.H. Williams III, but not the same as J.H. Williams III, but that's sort of a thing. I started reading this issue, and initially I wasn't really excited with the way the pages laid out. I mean, this one's relatively okay. I mean, this is the wall, and then suddenly his head's there. I just this page was fine because, of course, you get this cross in the middle and the stuff around it. But when two pages like this match up, and I just don't understand why, like, why'd we waste that corner up there? You know, what's this line for? That kind of, this is the way the panels are laid out. I mean, I get this one. It pulls our eye into, you know, I mean, okay. So to some degree I get it, but I don't understand this. It bothered me when I was first reading it. Like, why is it that way? And then we get to the psychiatrist and hers. You know, it's this very straight angled page layout and whatnot of her talking about Norton and this aspect of stuff. And then I went back and I looked at this again, and I decided to actually like this because this is like crazy talk. I mean, they're talking about this secret society called the Plowmen, who are always been kind of battling against the evil Black Bar, whatever the hell that is, you know, kind of a thing. And this seems, you know, uncertain and uncontrolled and chaotic to a degree. And so that matches kind of the feeling of what's going on there. You know, this is straight, angular, more clinical to start out with, because the psychologist is that. And then we get into some crazy kind of hallucinogenic, or not hallucinogenic, but hallucinating, some sort of psychic something is happening to the doctor. And we get this crazy page that I actually really like. If you look at it closely, it is like film. I mean, you can follow, you know, here's her actions of what she's doing when she's going to touch the stuff going down here, right? It's kind of mirrored her actions to go in this direction. And on this side of the cube, because it is three-dimensional, on this side of the cube, it is Norton turning around with the hammer to face whatever's coming. And then it shatters off to the side. I'm digging that. You know, then you saw this page, you know, standard panel layouts for this kind of standard stuff going on as our priest is talking with the sheriff. They're having a conversation with the Plowman. The priest doesn't believe all this stuff. The doctor at the beginning is like, look, you're a man of faith. You should have faith in the stuff you can't explain. I mean, your thoughts are based on it. You know, kind of a thing. There's something disastrous is going on. The sheriff needs to go to this crime scene. She actually asked the priest to drive because she has been drinking. So she needs a ride there. So he's driving. We go back to the city. We go back with Norton. The doctor has been following Norton. Norton, you know, tackles her and they have a conversation. This panel is amazing because the first time I looked at it, I didn't realize what it is. But looking at it like this, I'm assuming you on the camera probably see it quicker, that is a skull. The two of them holding hands together, talking about how she's scared, about how she's seen everything. She doesn't understand him, but she believes him, and that scares her even more. But it's clearly a skull. Their heads are eye sockets, the nose, the rain going off their coats is the teeth. You know, so I'm reading the comments, and Devin is saying that he didn't know that it was Norton with the in the cube. He thought it was the guy on the page with the hammer. See, I didn't think of that. You think that's what that is? Okay. See, that's a good thing I have these conversations. The broken perfume bottle there. The guy with the hammer. You're right. Because if it was Norton, he would have the mask on, right? Because we haven't seen Norton without his mask. Yep, you're right. It is. She's seeing a glimpse of the future. Good catch. I missed it. Awesome. So that makes me even like it even more. I just thought it was like a flashback to Norton being in his room with the hammer, waiting for somebody to break into his room with the bungee trap and whatnot. You're right. You're right. I also like this page layout because it refers to our cross again, in a sense. But that skull, that was awesome. Yeah, nice, neat little trick. And then, of course, another thing I really like is, see if I can find it. Oh yeah. So we had this, right? You know, with the sheriff running off. I mean, the first page that gets to Norton, you get the rain, right? But it's clearly upside down. I mean, these are, I would assume, raindrops hitting the water, hitting the road, but it's upside down. If you remember the first issue, we first started getting the changes between our two characters, between Norton and the priest, that it would kind of flip upside down for a panel or two, and then right side up for us, the reader, to actually read it. So I like that they've maintained that kind of a thing. All things there's no way in the hell they're going to be able to do if they make it a TV show. Just saying. There's tons of this stuff that has to do with the comic that I just don't think you're going to nail on a TV show. That's what makes comics cooler than TV. And then we have the element happen again. We get to this house. There's something tragic has happened there. I won't spoil the final page, but I like this page because it starts the upside down. We get this kind of upside down feel to it, because then, of course, we get the images of potentially the dark, you know, the black barn and all that sort of stuff. So no, I dug it. I think it was really cool. Really, really enjoying the comic, despite, you know, like I said, that not black that I'll continue to complain about probably for every issue. But really good story, really good structure. Really like the panel, the smart, you know, page layouts, the transitions, the secret stuff that's hidden amongst that. I really, really dig quite a bit. And cool. Where did I buy that beard? I bought it at a secondhand store. Pretty cool, isn't it? Stays on straight most of the time, right? You know? So it amuses me. I wear it just for this video. Let's see. Deadly Class, issue number, what is this? This is issue number 35. The Love Like Blood Part 4. Super intense issue. Lots of action in the issue. I really, really liked it. Some really cool emotional beats and some craziness that goes on in it. And, you know, how it all squares away by the end of it. I just don't know what's next for the book. I really have no idea now. You know, I'm assuming at some point we're going to get back to Soya and what's going on with her in Japan. But this was an amazing issue. I just really, really liked it a lot. Man, great ending to a lot of what happened there. A lot of intensity, some new energies built up. A character I really like is dead. I'm assuming they're actually dead because we see a grave. So I'm assuming they're dead. But of course, we've had people dead in it before and they come back. So I don't know 100% on that, but man, really, really dig that book. As always, there's never a bad issue of that as far as I'm concerned. So Evolution. This is issue number 7. We've lost a writer on it. Joshua Williams is not longer on it. We got 3 writers on it. Amos, Keenage, and Sabella are on it. And of course, the Inferrari and Boyd artwork on it is pretty amazing. Our scientist, our doctor, is getting crazier and crazier. He's been body snatching as he's trying to figure out a way to fight the evolution that's happening. He has gone back to Atlanta, and he has abducted one of his ex-coworkers that I think he's going to attempt to get him to take him inside the CDC so he can use their labs to further study. I just don't know how he's going to do that without, because I'm assuming the CDC isn't like some place that, you know, once you get to the front door security, you don't have to worry about people anymore. So I don't know that he's really planned this out a lot. Meanwhile, in Germany, Sister Hannah, the nun that had the infliction on her, and she'd gone back to Germany to the origin of the man that she had seen in the church. She gets there. There's some guys there that seem like they're like with the UN or something like that. They're not. they seem to be part of some society, and they seem to know who she is. Like she's part of some event that happened, and maybe the event explains the evolution stuff. I'll be curious to find that out. And of course, then we also have our two women who met the estranged film collector, and one of them has got an affliction that started on her arm, and they're going back to that film collector because that's the last place they saw the monster stuff at, to see if he has answers for them. All really good stuff. Just still really intriguing story, and visually interesting too. So Days of Hate. This is one of the first books I read of my book for this week. This is chapter 612, The Halfway Point. Love this cover. Love the colors of it. I'm always kind of dread this book because it is it's always really good, but it's so damn depressing because it kind of it's flirting with the fringe of the bad stuff that's happening in the United States right now. And there's some really diabolical and evil characters in the comic that are just disturbing to read about and whatnot. But this issue is amazing in that it kind of reflects back on our terrorists and her ex-wife's kind of early on relationship, and it's written so well. It's almost like a poetry and visual poetry, the way that it's done. It's not a linear conversation about, I met this person and I fell in love with them, and and it was a good time. It's much more abstract in thought and in feeling and emotions, and I just really, really liked it. It was really, really interesting. It was such a different speed for the book. I mean, there's stuff that's still happening, but those pages, and there's a few pages that are in there, were captivating enough for me that really made the book. That was really the thing that was cool about the book, and I really, really enjoyed it. We get the comments, and Gotham Central saying he's curious to see how much is left in the tank for Deadly Class. Well, that's what I'm wondering too. I mean, it's like, what is next, for it? I'm so really, really enjoying it and be happy for it to go on for however long it chooses to go on. But it does make you wonder. I mean, because they're not going to go back to the school. What is this group of people going to do now? So far they haven't been given enough information to think that maybe they should go and try and help Soya, or if they care to, or if that even matters. I don't know, but it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see for sure. I finally got my copy of Blackwood issue number 1 from Dark Horse Comics, written by Evan Dorkin, art by Veronica and Andy Fish. Andy Fish actually does the layouts through the entire story, so I would say that he is probably the visual storyteller, and Veronica is an artist. Because if I see in the credits and it says that someone does the layouts, that means they are the ones that actually drew out the structure of the pages, and then the artist is going back and basically fleshing that all out. So it was okay. It's a 4-issue book, so I'll read it to the end. It had a very 1980s horror feel to it. Kids go to this university. They don't know why they're there. Some of them kind of flirt with feelings of the supernatural, but not really. Something monstrous happens and they are involved and can't escape it and whatnot. That are very isolated in the process of all of that kind of a thing. So it's not a deep book. It's not deep storytelling. It's very surface, but amusing in kind of, like I said, a 1980s, late 80s horror story kind of a thing. This cover in particular is a Becky Cloonan cover. I really dug it. I don't think Becky Cloonan's doing any of the other covers, or I'll get all of those. But anyway, it was okay. Nothing like mind blowing or anything like that, but it was fun. Barbarella, issue number 7. Probably the best thing about this is this variant cover for it. She came from outer space, and of course it's got the not approved for the code. It's okay. The story was okay. They dance around on a place on Earth for a little bit, so they basically interact with 1920s Earth people a little bit, and it's kind of silly and kind of dumb because they're kind of dumb about interacting with Earth people from the 1920s, and then they like find a dragon that's what's been shifting the reality around as it's attempting to give birth. They help it give birth, and then they go back to their normal place. So kind of a silly ending, really. The book has been entertaining up to this point. This was kind of a letdown. If the next story arc that happens is kind of along the same way, as much as it amuses me, I'll probably be done with it. I liked the beginning because it, despite the cheesecakey parts of it, it still had some actual attempt at telling some thoughtful story. And this did not seem like it really had any thoughtful story to it. It didn't feel like it was just them spinning their wheels. So yeah. And finally for this month, it is Black Hammer Age of Doom issue number 3. Such an awesome book. Jeff Lemire written, Dean Ostrom drawn with Dave Stewart colors. This issue is fabulous because one of the things that makes Black Hammer fun is it's kind of a wink and a nod at comic books that clearly Jeff Lemire likes. So she basically spends some time in the Land of Dream. The equivalent of Sandman is there and all of his brothers and sisters. They sit down and eat dinner with them. She gets teleported to, she crosses through or opens up a door to look into a place. And there's a brief moment there that it looks like From Hell, the Alan Moore book From Hell is in it at one point, which is kind of funny also. So yeah, here's the Land of Dream with Morpheus and all that kind of stuff, which was fun. Yeah, let's see. I'm trying to see if I can find a place where they're popping through and they step out and it's clearly, oh yeah. So here's From Hell, which I thought was fun. Here, of course, is Sweet Tooth, which is awesome. They open the door and go, nope, this is the wrong place. So she's trying to find her way back. She finds her way back. Black Hammer does. She finds her way back. She finds her way back to Madame Dragonfly's home. And we clearly find out that Madame Dragonfly is manipulating a whole bunch of stuff. There's some ultimate thing that's going to happen. Colonel Strange is concerned because Madame Dragonfly is kind of giving them what they want. And he keeps saying, you shouldn't be doing that. This next thing is coming. We have to be prepared for this next thing. And she's like, why do you care? It's all going to come about anyway. It doesn't matter. So that's all this really intriguing stuff is happening. Also, along with all the winks and nods in it that make the book a lot of fun. As far as that goes too, if you're a long-term comic book reader or a well-read comic book reader, there's lots of good fun stuff in there, which makes me just continue to love that book a lot. It's just a lot of great fun. And that is it. That is my books for the week. 18 books. 17 books, because I didn't talk about Brave and the Bold because I haven't read it, because I haven't been enjoying it. So I just kind of quit reading it. So anyway, that is it. Keep it short, keep it sweet. Thank you guys for coming on and chatting. Always appreciate it. And maybe next week I'll have some people here with me. We'll talk some comics. We'll be talking Saga. So check that out. Anyway, have a good night. See y'all next time.